You ever stare at your inbox and wonder, what am I even doing with my life? You might be bored, might be underpaid, possibly allergic to your coworkers, but trust me, your job, it could have been worse. Like historically worse. I'm Thrive. I'm a Fortune 500 HR manager and business coach, and today we're continuing our journey through history's worst jobs with today's selection of 15 jobs from history that were so disgusting, dangerous, or downright bizarre that you'll want to send your manager a thank you muffin basket after this video. Let's get into this. Napalm stirrer. Hot, flammable regret. The job. During the Vietnam War, napalm, aka jellied gasoline, was produced in bulk for military use, and someone had to manually stir those massive vats of it to ensure the consistency stayed just right. That someone was a factory worker with zero margin for error. Why it sucked? Napalm is highly flammable. It's toxic to breathe and sticky enough to ruin your entire day. Stirring it by hand meant exposure to fumes, risk of chemical burns, and explosions. OSHA wasn't a thing yet. Protective gear was don't trip. Why it's gone? Automation and ethical bans. Napalm became internationally condemned due to its horrific effects, and production shifted away from manual methods towards machines until it was largely just phased out altogether. The plague doctor's assistant. We've covered the plague doctor in past videos, but during the Black Death in the 14th century Europe, plague doctors became infamous for their beaked masks and grim presence. But behind every great beak was a lowly assistant, and they were tasked with prepping the bodies, cleaning equipment, and handling boils that should have stayed nightmares. Why it sucked. Assistants were glorified hazmat mules with no protection, no training, and honestly no hope. They were exposed to infected fluids, got bitten by fleas carrying the plague, and died. A lot. The job came with no retirement plan. Just a pine box. Why it's gone? Well, modern medicine, germ theory, antibiotics, and hygiene. Oh, and we stopped assigning job duties based on how expendable you looked. Coal trapper, industrial revolution's littlest prisoners. The job. In the 1800s, British coal mines employed children as young as 5 to sit in complete darkness for 12 hours a day, opening and closing doors so air could flow properly through the tunnels. That's it. All day. Door open, door closed. Why it sucked. Cramped tunnels, no light, rats for company, and zero stimulation. You'd go blind from darkness, deaf from explosions, and lose your childhood entirely. And if you fell asleep, miners suffocated. No pressure, Timmy. No pressure. Why it's gone. The big reason's child labor laws, right? Unions and growing awareness that kids should probably be in school, not dodging cave-ins in exchange for a potato. Paint factory worker. Toxic by design. The job. In the 19th century, workers mixed paints with ingredients like lead, mercury, and arsenic to create rich, vibrant colors. Especially popular were greens and whites. Ironically, perfect for tombstones. Why it sucked. The colors were pretty, but the process was deadly. Workers inhaled fumes, absorbed poisons through their skin, and frequently developed neurological issues or dropped dead mid-shift. A job that quite literally killed you softly with color. Why it's gone. We figured out lead is poisonous. OSHA got involved, and now you can paint your living room without hallucinating or growing extra limbs. Though an extra arm would be useful at times. The dog whipper. Canine control meets church shame. The job. In medieval churches, dogs were common intruders, wandering in during sermons and basically just causing chaos. Enter the dog whipper. Armed with a stick and a whip, their job was to keep the congregation canine free. Why it sucked. Imagine being the guy who has to shoo out someone's mangy mutt during the holiest moment of mass while everyone side-eyes you like you're the problem. Oh, and you get paid less than the guy who lit candles. Seriously? Why it's gone. Churches got doors. And eventually, people stopped bringing their livestock to worship. Wig powderer. Toxic fashion forward. The job. 18th century elites wore giant powdered wigs like that one, to display their wealth. Powdering those monstrosities fell to servants, who stood in clouds of flour and arsenic, coating wigs until they looked like they'd been attacked by a pastry chef with a grudge. Why it sucked. You were inhaling toxic powder, likely going bald yourself, and had to stand perfectly still while your master berated you for uneven curls. And you didn't even get to wear the wig when you died from lung poisoning. Why it's gone. Well, wigs fell out of fashion post-French Revolution. Heads tended to casserole, wigs included. And we stopped using arsenic in beauty products, mostly due to the whole killing people thing. Seemed like a good move. Hey, before we move on to more career horror stories, a quick reminder. If you're enjoying this trip through the worst jobs ever, trademark, and you're not currently powdering wigs with arsenic or disarming coffins, why not click the like button? It's free, unlike 18th century labor. And hey, if you want to hear more about the weird, the grim, and the historically baffling, subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss future videos. Because nothing says relaxing Tuesday night like learning how many jobs used to involve poop, explosives, or plague. Back to the misery. Cat gut string maker. Strings attached. The job. Cat gut. Actually, sheep intestines was once the go-to material for stringed instruments. Workers had to extract, stretch, clean, and dry the intestines in long, gruesome processes. Why it sucked? It was filthy, it was smelly, and it often was done in outdoor sheds in full exposure to disease. The stench was so bad, workers were social pariahs and got paid in whatever money people were too embarrassed to touch. Why it's gone? Synthetic strings. And also, musicians started asking, why does my violin smell like a butcher shop? Funeral clown. Honk if you're mourning. The job. In ancient Rome, some funerals featured clowns who mocked the deceased, mimicked their quirks, gait, or voice to celebrate life. Think stand-up comedy meets ancient trauma. Why it sucked. You were paid to roast a dead guy in front of grieving family members. It was a tightrope between being funny and getting chased out by a mob of mourners wielding olives. Why it's gone. Funerals became more somber, and we decided maybe clowns were best left for birthdays. And nightmares. Coffin torpedo installer, explosively unemployed. The job. In 19th century America, fear of grave robbing led to booby-trapped coffins. Enter the coffin torpedo installer, part engineer, part mortuary prankster. Why it sucked. Your job was to load actual explosives into wooden boxes being buried underground. Early designs were unstable, instructions were unclear, and if you made a mistake, kaboom, you joined the client. Why it's gone. Laws changed. Grave robbing decreased, and funeral directors decided explosive caskets didn't pair well with grieving families. Glassblower's assistant. Breath of the fire demon. The job. Glassblowers in pre-modern Europe needed assistants to blow air into molten glass through metal pipes over and over, sometimes for hours. Why it sucked. You were breathing scalding vapor through hot metal while sweating in a kiln-adjacent room. Many died of heat stroke or chronic lung damage. Wool to make a vase someone's cat would eventually knock off a table. On brand. Why it's gone. Modern equipment took over. Today, most glass is machine-made or handled in ventilated studios with safety gear. The assistants? They're fine. Probably doing pottery on Etsy now. Tanner. Leather, but make it traumatizing. The job. Tanners process animal hides into leather using a cocktail of horror. Urine, feces, brains, and time. The hides were soaked, scraped, stretched, often in open pits, by hand, with nothing but a few tools and a high tolerance for smell. Why it sucked? You smelled like roadkill dipped in ammonia, like permanently. Your clothes, your hair, your soul. Townsfolk would cross the street just to avoid you, assuming the wind didn't get them first. Even the rats picked up and left. Why it's gone. Modern tanneries are mostly automated and regulated. Plus, synthetic materials have reduced demand for traditional tanning. Oh, and we stopped thinking pea-soaked hides was an acceptable vibe for footwear. Alum miner. The acid trip no one wanted. The job. Alum was a key ingredient in dyeing textiles. It helped colors bind to fabric. It came from deep within the earth, in sulfur-rich mines where temperatures soared and the air tasted like despair and lemon juice. Why it sucked. You descend into acidic caverns with no masks and no ventilation. Breathing felt like inhaling vinegar steam through a straw. Skin burns, blindness, and coughing up mysterious substances were all part of the benefits package. Why it's gone. Modern mining techniques, safety standards, and synthetic chemical alternatives mean nobody has to crawl through volcano caves to help someone wear lavender without fading. Roentgen ray tester, human guinea pig, now with cancer. In the early 1900s, X-rays were all the rage, and scientists, doctors, and lab workers tested them by blasting their own hands repeatedly with radiation to see what would happen. What happened was cancer. Why it sucked. You proudly show off your bones in real time, then watch your fingers slowly rot over the next year. Many early radiologists died young, losing hands, arms, or worse, while the medical community casually jotted notes down like, interesting lesion, keep monitoring. Why it's gone. We now understand radiation exposure causes cellular damage. Shocking, I know. Today, radiology uses strict safety protocols, lead vests, and nobody has to offer up their skeleton like a show and tell. Bride show organizer. HR for czarist objectification. The job. In Imperial Russia, the czar didn't date. He held bride shows, where dozens of noble women were gathered, inspected, and chosen from like a royal talent show. Your job? Organize the beauty pageant of systemic oppression. Why it sucked. You dealt with anxious families, ambitious nobility, wardrobe meltdowns, and the czar's weird preferences. Too tall? Next. Not enough cheekbone symmetry? Next. You were a one-person Tinder swipe session, with political stakes and real consequences. Why it's gone. Monarchies modernized, public opinion shifted, and the whole women as property vibe fell out of fashion. We got dating apps. Progress? Professional mourner. Cry me a river. On command. The job. In ancient Egypt, China, and even Victorian England, families paid professional mourners to cry loudly at funerals. Some wailed, tore clothing, or fainted dramatically, all to show social status through sorrow. Why it sucked. Imagine being hired to grieve harder than the actual widow. You had to compete in the emotional Olympics, performing pain while secretly hoping you didn't get asked to do a dramatic sob twice. Why it's gone. Well, social norms evolved, and we decided maybe authentic grief is better than a Broadway edition for Les Miserables Graveyard Edition. So there you have it. 15 horrifying jobs from the past that make your annoying coworker snack theft seem like a minor footnote in a grand scheme of suffering. Next time you're frustrated with meetings that should have been emails, just remember, at least you're not powdering wigs with poison or prepping plague boils with a smile. Human progress, folks. Sometimes it smells like leather and arsenic, but it gets there eventually. Feeling grateful yet? Or at least mildly less dead inside about your inbox? Give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you never miss a fresh batch of career advice, business acumen training, and historical pain. Because while other people give you motivational speeches, I cut out the corporate nonsense and show you jobs where people explode in coffins. You're welcome. Like if you like, sub if you sub, share if you share. I'm Thrive. Bye.